We've just focused on who we are as a couple, and so when you take all those extra layers away and all of that noise, I think it makes it really easy to just enjoy being together and tune all the rest of that out.
It was supposed to be their grand comeback, the royal couple's dazzling return to the spotlight. But instead of fireworks, what New York got that night was the sound of something breaking. Meghan Markle, glowing in diamonds, worth more than most people's homes. Prince Harry, standing beside her with the look of a man trapped in a nightmare. They were meant to shine, but by the end of the night, they left separately. For a pair who built their brand on being inseparable, that was the first red flag. And what followed? It's the kind of royal storm no one, not even the palace, saw coming. So buckle up, grab your tea, and hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you see this royal duo. The stage was set, New York City, flashing cameras, designer gowns, and a humanitarian award that was supposed to seal their global power couple status. But something felt off from the second they arrived. Meghan was in full movie star mode, smiling, posing, basking in the lights. Harry? He looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on the planet. Witnesses said the tension between them was thick enough to cut with a knife. And then, just hours later, came the shock. The couple who once swore they'd never do anything apart left in separate cars. To the world, it looked like a small detail, but for those close to them, it was the first sign of a much bigger collapse brewing behind the scenes. To understand how things unraveled in New York, you have to go back to Paris, because that's where it all began to fall apart. Paris isn't just another glamorous city to Harry. It's the place where he lost his mother. For years, he refused to even set foot there. So when Meghan suddenly announced she'd be flying solo to Paris for a business trip, red flags went up immediately. Harry didn't fight her on it, but friends say he went quiet, withdrawn, like he knew something bad was coming. And then it did. Photos started surfacing. Meghan in Paris, smiling for the cameras, filming content near the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Yes, that tunnel. The same one where Princess Diana's life ended in 1997. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't an accident. It was a choice. And when Harry saw the footage, insiders say it broke him completely. That tunnel wasn't just a location. It was sacred ground, a wound that never healed. For Meghan to use it as a backdrop for brand content, that was the ultimate betrayal. She brushed it off as just work. But for Harry, that was the moment something inside him shut down. The warmth between them? Gone. The trust? Shattered. And from that point on, the cracks started to show in every single public appearance. But Paris wasn't the only storm brewing. Enter Marcus Anderson, Meghan's longtime friend, constant companion, and one of Hollywood's ultimate power connectors. He's been there since her Suits days, and he's still everywhere on the dinners, the red carpets, the Montecito parties. Insiders say it's like three people in that marriage. And while it's not a romantic scandal, it's definitely a power one. Marcus opens doors Meghan can't. He's connected to the LA elite, the producers, executives, and influencers who decide who's in and who's out. And Meghan? She's made sure to stay in. Every career move, every partnership, every carefully crafted appearance, Marcus has his fingerprints on it. Meanwhile, Harry's left on the sidelines, looking more like an accessory than a husband. The more Meghan glows around her circle, the more he fades into the background. You've probably seen that viral clip. Harry reaches for Meghan's hand on the red carpet, a small, tender gesture. She subtly pulls away and turns her full attention to the cameras, smiling like nothing happened. It's only a few seconds long, but it said everything. She's in love with the spotlight. He's haunted by it. The flashes, the screaming photographers, they're his living nightmare. But for her, they're fuel. She's alive in the chaos. He's shrinking inside it. Their body language doesn't lie. One is feeding off fame, the other's drowning in it. Remember the fairy tale? They left the palace for freedom, sunshine, and privacy, but instead of escaping the machine, they rebuilt it in California. Bigger, louder, and more profitable. Meghan dove into deals, productions, and partnerships, transforming their life into a 24/7 brand. Harry? He wanted a quiet existence, nature, family, peace, but peace doesn't trend, and privacy doesn't pay. They didn't escape royal life, they just swapped the crown for contracts. Now they're running their own royal performance. Only this time, the palace is a PR firm. Then came the night that sealed the public's doubts. The Humanitarian of the Year award in New York. Harry preached about corporate greed while living off million-dollar brand deals. Meghan floated through the event in custom tailoring and diamonds, looking more Met Gala than charity gala. Guests couldn't stop whispering, "Humanitarian of what exactly?" Their foundation's vague mission statements and sporadic appearances weren't adding up. One insider put it bluntly, "It's not about helping people, it's about headlines." And suddenly their brand of do-good glamour started looking a lot like Hollywood theater. Behind those Montecito gates, insiders say the couple barely even cross paths anymore. No explosive fights, just emotional frost. Meghan's on endless calls with PR teams, plotting her next move. Harry spends his days walking alone, lost in audiobooks and reflection. Friends whisper about a trial separation, but no one expects a divorce announcement soon. They can't afford it, literally or publicly. Their brand depends on the illusion of togetherness. Without Harry and Meghan, there's no empire to stand on. Here's the part that's almost poetic and tragic at the same time. They built the perfect brand, but it's also their prison. They're locked in what one insider called a golden cage. Beautiful, shiny, and suffocating. Every public smile is rehearsed. Every loving glance is scheduled. They're no longer living a love story, they're performing one. And the worst part? They can't stop. Because if the performance ends, so does everything they've built. They promised freedom. What they got was a different kind of palace, one built on contracts, cameras, and curated posts. They didn't escape the spotlight, they became it. And now, the cracks in that perfect image are too big to hide. What the world sees as a fairy tale is really a performance that's falling apart in slow motion. Every gesture, every smile, every word, scripted. Because the truth is too expensive to show. They didn't escape the crown, they just built their own. And the empire they built together, it's finally starting to crumble. So what do you think? Is the Sussex brand on its last legs, or are they holding it together just long enough for one final act? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, and hit subscribe. Because when the next chapter of this royal saga breaks, you'll want to be the first to know. This is Fame Loop Daily, and trust me, the drama is far from over.